It rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
What is good, everyone? This is Kuzu Ranger coming at you from Japan. Now, in today's Japan Culture Series, in Part 9, I'll be going over some healthcare, but I'm not going to cover it in great depth because, hey, that's boring. So instead, I'm going to describe 2 events in the last week, which should hopefully give you a brief glimpse into how things work here. Alright, so the first event was me going to the hospital. Now, in the US, if you say, "I'm going to the hospital," we assume something really serious happened. Well, that's not the case in Japan. People come in for all sorts of reasons, including very minor illnesses. I had a cold and irritated eyes, so I went in for a quick checkup, but mostly to get some meds. Also, I shouldn't say it was a hospital. It's actually just a local clinic. Most of these are tiny clinics that may just have a few rooms and one doctor, but are so common you can go wherever you want. I went in on a Monday morning and happened to see my wife's friend sitting there with her 2 kids. So yeah, it's a small world. It's very easy and there is no stress. I gave them my health insurance card, took a seat for 10 minutes, and got to see the doc. I told him my story in Japanese, he checked me, gave me a diagnosis, blah blah chit chat, and that was that. I paid 1,000 yen, which is a little less than $10. Then I was sent with a receipt to the pharmacy just 50 feet down the street. Now this place is even smaller, just a 1-room open lobby about the size of a typical living room. Waited 5 minutes, paid another 1,000 yen, got 4 types of medication, some cough drops, and 2 types of eye drops. So in all I paid less than $20, but I can and will be using the leftover meds the next time I need them, so that's really a pretty good value. More than that, I was given proper health care with hardly any wait at all. Hospitals and clinics in Japan are so clean, efficient, and professional that it doesn't feel like a hassle at all. They're doing something very right, and America could certainly learn a few things from their example. Then on Wednesday, I had my annual physical. I work for a Japanese company where everyone is entitled to a free health examination paid for by the company. I hate going to the hospitals in the States, but let me tell you, I actually like going to them in Japan. First of all, I can leave the office on a work day, eat a chocolate chip scone at Starbucks, and still get paid. But besides that, hospital staff treat you like a king, which is pretty crazy. This time I go to one of the bigger hospitals and check in on the 9th floor. There were a half-dozen nurses or staff, all female and mostly young, waiting with a smile as you walk in, and it honestly feels more like a hotel than a hospital the way they interact with you. They take my paperwork and health insurance card, give me some fucking ugly green hospital clothes, and tell me to go change. It's just after lunch, but there aren't many people there. What's cool is that most companies do these annual checks around the same time of the year, so the hospitals are already prepared and super efficient. Basically, you're sent around to about 10 stations that each serve a different function. First, I was told to pee in a cup in the bathroom. Then I was sent to a bigger room where I stood on a weight scale, which also measured my height and body fat. I sat down for an eye test, which is like playing a tiny arcade game where you click which way the U is facing. I got 1.5 scores for both eyes, which I believe means 1.5 times better than the normal person. But in Japan, hey, is that really saying something? I don't know. Next, I stepped into a booth for the hearing test. Aced it. Then they checked my blood pressure with a small machine. And after these 3 or 4 tests, I was just sitting there in awe as 3 or 4 very cute nurses were attending to me. I didn't want to gawk, but at the same time I thought it appropriate to smile to let them know I appreciated their cuteness. Professionalism. All of a sudden I had a fantasy of having sex with a nurse. Help me! After that, they walk you out of the room and tell you where to go next. So I had a quick x-ray taken next door that literally took me less than a minute. The technician guided me to the next station for some blood tests. 3 vials of blood and a band-aid later, I'm out the door and out to the next station. Then I get laid down on a bed and get hooked up to a few wires to check my pulse and heart rate. Bada bing, bada boom. Step into a similar room next door and again lay down, this time for an echo machine, which is what they use to monitor babies in their mother's womb. I asked the lady technician what this was for, and she explained it was basically to check for signs of cancer. The thing is, they rubbed this warm gel on the sensor for better readings, which felt both warm and nice, and dirty and slimy at the same time. And I don't know if I was imagining things, but it felt like she grazed my cock a few times as she was moving her elbow around. I don't know. Go off to another room for what seems like another eye test, only I'm told it's to check for some sign of eye cancer. This is one of the only tests that is somewhat unpleasant, since they have these tiny protruding microscopes moving towards your eye. Then, inexplicably, it shoots a gust of air into your fucking eyeball, which scared the shit out of me. Luckily, it doesn't hurt at all. Now, I was expecting it, but the first time I had it a few years ago, I was shaking my head going, what the fuck? Thanks for the warning. For one of the last stations, another hot young nurse leads me in to see an old doc who basically says, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm alright. And he checks a few things and sends me back to where I started. One other thing I should mention though is that Japanese men over 35 are advised to get barium meals, which is a type of x-ray to check for stomach cancer. Now, I've declined taking these tests every time because A, stomach cancer is far more common in Japanese men than in Western men, and B, exposing myself to harmful amounts of radiation on a yearly basis is just not cool. Even if the hospital was to tell me up front what the radiation dose was and use something relatively small like 2 millisieverts, that is still the equivalent of 100 chest x-rays. Now, I understand the importance of detecting the cancer before it becomes serious, but at the same time, I can't accept exposing myself to cancer-causing radiation in order to search for a non-existing cancer. But no one gives me trouble about it. The secretary at work, she remembers each time to leave out the barium test when she books my visit, so it's all good. Anyways, my hospital visit and health exam went very smooth. I was treated with warmth and respect by friendly professional staff. I was taken care of very quickly and efficiently. All in all, I was in and out of the clinic in about 30 minutes and for the hospital in just over an hour or so. Now, it's hard imagining a better working system for this type of healthcare, so for that I really am grateful and tip my hat off to the Japanese. Well guys, thanks for listening. This has been Kuzu Ranger. Let me know what other things you'd like to see next time, but do remember I have a few things that you have recommended before and I'm trying to get on those things. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.